My dear good people of Edo State, it has become necessary to address you in the light of the palpable tension and agitation across the country, in the light of the calls for end bad governance protests by many groups. These protests is obviously the result of the difficult living conditions which Nigerians have had to endure, particularly over the last 1 year, arising from various policies that have been implemented by the federal government. These policies have taken severe toll on our citizens who have had to endure astronomical high food prices, high transportation costs, galloping inflation, and loss of operating capital by small business owners across the country. It has become evident that a lot of the policy measures undertaken were not properly thought through, leading to adverse consequences that have now put our people in their straits. As your governor, I have been very critical of the poor fiscal and monetary policy management by the federal government, which has led us to this unfortunate situation. You may recall last year how I expressed disappointment over how the fuel subsidy was removed without proper planning, which has now led millions of Nigerians into extreme poverty and untold hardship. The decision on exchange rate unification by the Central Bank of Nigeria exacerbated the cost of living and low capacity utilization in the productive sector, which resulted in high costs of goods and services. With the move, the Naira significantly lost its value without us strategically thinking of how to cushion the resultant difficulties. With the worsening security situation across the country, many farmers have been displaced and cannot produce sufficient food, which has been largely responsible for high food prices. Insecurity and rampant corruption has also affected our ability to produce sufficient crude oil, even to meet our OPEC quota. The current average production of 1.3 million barrels per day cannot earn enough foreign exchange to meet the current needs of Nigeria. In Edo State, we have taken several actions within our own authority to reduce the sufferings and hardship of our people by showing empathy and supporting our people to weather and survive these trying times despite the challenges witnessed across the country. Some of the measures we have taken include raising the minimum wage for workers to 70,000 naira to boost their purchasing power. We were the first state in Nigeria to do so. We also introduced free transport services along routes operated by the Edo City Transport Service, ECTS. We have extended free Wi-Fi services to public spaces to help citizens telecommute. And we have kickstarted a statewide feeding program for the most vulnerable. And we have implemented this in partnership with Christian and Muslim institutions. Even though these well-intended measures have yielded positive results and brought some relief, we are aware that our people are still burdened by the worsening prevailing macroeconomic conditions in the country. In the light of these pervading challenges and difficulties, it is not surprising that some groups have decided to spearhead protests to call attention to the deteriorating and difficult socio-economic circumstances faced by Nigerians, including citizens of Edo State. Let me state that Edo people have the right to express their displeasure with their current living conditions through protests, because protests are a fundamental human right. However, we appeal that this should be done without disrupting public peace and destroying the properties of other citizens. We, however, have it on good authority that some people, particularly within the political space, are plotting to use the excuse of the protest to cause disruptions and destroy public infrastructure. Our intelligence reveals that plans have been perfected to infiltrate the planned protest marches to cause wanton destruction of lives and property. Armed thugs and some cult groups have been procured and mobilized to attack and burn public buildings and offices, including the Secretariat complex in Benin City and several newly renovated schools and healthcare centers in several parts of the state. Their motive is to settle political scores ahead of the September 2024 gubernatorial elections. We have taken this intelligence very seriously in the light of the massive mobilization of thugs on the 18th of July 2024 at the Benin airport and the rampant shooting which led to the death of a police officer. I want to use this opportunity to call on the organizers of these protests to consider adopting other forms of protests outside marching and processions on the streets. I am calling on members of the public to be vigilant and not allow miscreants to hijack the peaceful protests to actualize their devious plans to loot shops and markets and cause mayhem in our state. I have mobilized security agencies in the state to be on high alert and ensure that law and order is maintained and to provide protection for genuine protesters who must follow the law and ensure that they carry out their protests in a peaceful and orderly manner. Let me use this broadcast to warn all of those people who want to use this protest as a pretext to destroy and attack business premises and public infrastructure in pursuit of their obnoxious political objectives, that government will bring the full weight of the law on them and spare no resources in bringing them to justice. I enjoin all law-abiding citizens to go about their lawful businesses without fear, as the government remains committed to protecting lives and property and will continue to work for the growth and progress of our dear state. God bless Edo State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Tinubu, I say Bakiolo Dango Ewo. I say Bakiolo Dango Chimo. Ewo, she say woman Bakiolo Dango. Tinubu, I say Bakiolo Dango Ewo. Tinubu Bakiolo Dango Chimo. I say she say woman Bakiolo Dango. I say Bakiolo Dango Chimo. Bakiolo Dango Ewo. She say woman Bakiolo Dango. I say Bakiolo Dango. Tinubu Bakiolo Dango Ewo. I say she say woman Bakiolo Dango. Tinubu Bakiolo Dewo Chimo. Tinubu Bakiolo Dango Ewo. She say woman Bakiolo Dango. Tinubu Bakiolo Dango Ewo. Tinubu Bakiolo Dango Ewo. She say woman Bakiolo Dango. Tinubu I say Bakiolo Dango Ewo. Tinubu Bakiolo Dango Ewo. She say woman Bakiolo Dango. Bakiolo Dango.